Hi, Steve.
Hi, Jim.
I'm going to quote Blue Oyster Cult this morning.
Okay.
It's time to play B-sides.
Oh, well, if Blue Oyster Cult says so, I'm all in.
And welcome once again to Two Guys Talking About Records, a vinyl community podcast. Each week, we two guys get together. We've been doing it for years, it seems like.
Yes.
And talking about records.
Yes.
We're going to talk about little records today, though. How's that sound?
Yes. Yeah. The little stuff. So does that mean it's going to be a shorter episode? I don't think so.
We'll have to see. But my name's Jim, and I own a record store.
And I'm Steve. I am a record collector.
And so much so that you're getting set to go to you're going to go back to your nemesis of that record show and hope not to be not to be I don't want to say you weren't swindled, but hope not to be swayed in a distractive mode. How's that sound?
Yeah. The Rocky Mountain Record Show, they're having their fall one. I mean, it's 3 stories of records, so you just keep going up and up, and there are so many vendors. Obviously it's in Denver, lots and lots of people, but yeah, last time, what the vendors were saying, like a first press, it wasn't a first press. And you felt like you got swindled to some extent. Yeah, it just depends on how much time you have to look crap up. Because when there's crowds of people, I go, well, wait a minute. I'm gonna let me look at my Discogs here for a while. And so
that gets annoying, but you were also distracted, you said last time, on the way out the door with that Cramps cover.
Yeah, exactly. The one Cramps that like the highest thing on my grail list, and then it was a repress because I didn't check. I was so excited because I'd looked all day for it. Couldn't find it till I was walking out the door, and there's like that beam of light hit it. It came in through the windows, and boy, it was a Blues Brothers moment. Yes, I go.
You have seen the light.
Yeah, I don't even want to look at it. I just want it.
Whatever you're asking for it's not enough.
That's right. Well.
Good luck when you head out to that. I hope you find some goodies out there.
Yeah, I hope. If I don't, I'm okay with it. I buy too much anyway.
Speaking of goodies, each week, this being the Vinyl Community Podcast, we like to show off. We as collectors, this is the collector side of me. A little advantage sometimes, as you'll see here, but we like to show off our goodies and things that we brought into the collections that's not supposed to be growing as much as they are. But how'd you do this week? What's stuff?
Yeah, it was one of those weeks again.
Oh no!
But we'll begin. This is a brand new album, just came out. I'm sure you've heard of the group, Modad. Very popular.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, the name of the album's Opaque. The band wanted to be a cross between My Bloody Valentine and Cocteau Twins. Shoegaze with the dream pop.
Okay, wow.
And they do a really good job with it. They're out of LA. This might be their first album. I'm not positive on that. I had heard it on another broadcast, The Vinyl Douche. He had put some samples out on it, Sam, and I really liked what I heard. It kind of fit into my wheelhouse. So I went to Bandcamp and got it ordered, and there we go, Modad. So, yeah. How about that? Okay.
We'll look forward to the sound sample on that one.
Yes, it's pretty good. I did pick this up. I haven't even opened it yet because I haven't had time. Pearl Jam's their second album, Verse. Yeah, Verse. It's a classic. I had it on CD. I don't have that CD, and I don't need all the Pearl Jam. I used to have a very large Pearl Jam collection on CD, and probably Greatest Hits would have done me just fine, Jim. But
yep. Until you pick up you get the Smashing Pumpkins and then pick up all the individuals down the
line. Yeah. It's collector issues.
Yes.
I went to a record store this week in a little town. Very nice, little clean little record store. Well done. And I first press of The Cure's Disintegrate.
Cool.
And Disintegration. The other thing is, I just bought bought the repress of it because I had an original vinyl still, so I put that in there. But well, they had the record cover, the original record cover. It's just she wouldn't sell it to me just the cover. She made me buy the vinyl.
Oh,
That just jumped the price up, damn it. So
yeah. Plus, it even has the hype stickers on there.
it does. It does have the hype stickers, so it's pretty cool. But yeah, I just want the cover. Kid, you can keep the vinyl. So
It's funny how a record store owner would frown upon that.
yeah, yeah. I found this there at the record store, the John Peele sessions. I used to have a variety of these. In the 80s, you could find them really, really cheap. Not so much anymore, but the Undertones, great punk band.
Yep.
And I was excited to see that. My controversial pick there, Culture Club.
Yeah, there you go.
A band I hated. And now I bought.
You bought it because
memories of the 80s.
There we go.
Though watching his videos, still makes me cringe. But I just got done playing this, so both sides, and I go, well, that wasn't too bad. So I had the CD, I bought it, not at the time, I just bought it years later, and it's just like, but yeah, this is the one she charged too much on. Everything else was a pretty good price at that record store. I was pretty happy, but yeah, I actually kind of like this. So
feelings of nostalgia from the 1980s.
Yeah, and I still don't like I Tumble For You, though. I think that's just dumb. In Excess, I've been looking for, had some water damage, but you just weren't able to get this in when I needed it, Jim. And
Sorry.
I kept looking and looking, waiting. There it was. Pretty good.
You know what that means? I'm gonna get 3 copies in the next month.
Exactly what that means, because you do it every time to me, constant. Folks, I'm just telling you, I would go to Jim's and I'd be looking and looking at Radio Wasteland. He would never have this common stuff. So finally I go to Discogs or something, I buy it, and then he gets it in for a lot cheaper price. It's like unbelievable every time.
It's the rules of record store shopping. That's how it goes.
Terence, Trent, D'Arby used to have this album. I was trying to remember, did I like it or not like it? And it wasn't that much. So I picked it up. I like it. But can it make it through a purge?
Oh, there's the question. You feel you're hinting like there might be one coming on here.
There needs to be. My wife goes, Ed goes, are you sending them to the gym? I get, boy, I don't know, that box would be awful heavy to ship.
And see what you can get local.
Yeah, the final one I've been trying to pick up. There's like 4 Psychedelic Fur albums I want. The rest of them I don't need, but it's like their first 4. And this one, Midnight to Midnight, again, something I used to have in my collection. I really liked and enjoyed. I do like the Psychedelic Furs quite a bit. They're coming to Denver at the end of the month with Jesus and Mary Chain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and this really maybe, thing is, if I probably have to have one of my kids come to be my wingman or something there, and which means Dad would buy the ticket. So there's a couple $100 shelled out.
They're probably not an arena act right now, are they anymore?
I don't think so, but it is it's actually a very large place that they're going.
Oh, okay.
And it's been selling well. And, I like the Psychedelic Furs. I hear their new album was pretty good. I haven't bought it. I did buy the new Jesus Mary Chain. I liked it a lot, and that's a favorite group. So I'm not much, and I guess I've seen a lot of older bands. I saw Boston, when they're old. I saw REO when they're old. So I don't know what my deal is with the whole thing, but
nostalgia.
Nostalgia. So we'll see. So that was my pickups, and we'll see what happens at the record show.
Well, good. Mine for the week, that's not too bad, I guess. Couple from Roxy Music. I picked up both the self-titled and Country Life, and my censored cover of Country Life. We'll get to that in a second. But not the biggest Roxy Music fan, but I'm beginning to appreciate them, I think, a little bit more.
Okay.
Just because of the the different sound that they had, especially earlier on in through that. And this one in particular, again, you know, my little niche collecting is the fact that this is a white label promo of their self-titled one from 1972. We can show that right up in here. So managed to get the Reprise label, white label promo, and it's not in terrible shape. I mean, the cover's a little hacked up here and there, but the vinyl's not too bad. It's pretty good. So I got that and I thought cool. And then I just at the same time picked up Country Life simply because I think these are fairly accessible. And again, I have to show off my my censored covers. And the reason for this, Steve, is several years ago, I had a copy of Country Life come through the store and I put it in one of our drop videos, a weekly drop video that we do. Facebook blocked it because of this cover. And I couldn't figure out what, and it didn't tell me that it blocked it. It just didn't show up. And I had people say, "Where's the drop video? It's 11:02. Where's the drop?" I'm like, so I went back and looked and it wasn't there. And it was all because this image showed up. So you know what?
I've shown that on I've shown that on YouTube and never had a problem on YouTube.
Oh, well, then heck, let's go nut now.
Yeah.
So those two are added in the collection. That's kind of, I think they're kind of cool. Next up was one I've been hemming and hawing on. I've had it set aside for probably a month or so, and I gave it another listen the other day. And this is by an artist named David Wilcox. He's just an American singer-songwriter. How Did You Find Me Here? This is from 1989. Discogs calls it folk, world, and country. And it is. It's a little Dylan-esque, if you want to call it that. Little promo stamp on the back of that. It's mellow. It's like folk rock, but a little bit more on the modern side. It's not by any means traditional folk. So it's a good one. I did find some sound samples of that, so we'll have that up on the Spotify playlist. So you can check that one out. But it's very good, enjoyable music in the background. And then finally, this one is interesting. It's by a group called Dreams. I don't know, have you ever heard of these guys?
No.
Because I had not. Discogs calls this jazz funk soul with the subgenre of fusion. It's from 1970, and the group is comprised, let me find my notes here again, make sure I got all these. The group is comprised, it was founded by Jeff Kent and Doug Lubahn, but then it features the likes, they did 2 albums, by the way, but it features the likes throughout the various 2 albums of John Abercrombie, the Brecker Brothers, the Brecker Brothers, and Billy Cobham show up on this. In listening to it, it puts off very strong Chicago vibes, but a little more on the fusion side of things. And then it mixes in some Blood, Sweat, and Tears. So you've got that brass sound and feeling through there. But it's got some funk on it as well. I mean, Chicago could get a little funky, but they were really more of that jam sound in through there. So this kind of, I think, mixes that up between Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Chicago, and you get an album called Dreams. Kind of enjoyable, not quite used to it yet. So we'll see where I go with that. And we'll go. But as always, dear viewers, we will strive to get these put together in a Spotify playlist. So if you'd like to hear some of the things, and this is just so the copyright police don't come knocking on our doors, but we'll put that together and you can hear sound samples. We'll put up a playlist of these groups, provided I can find all of the ones that Steve puts in there. Not too much of a trouble sometimes, but you never know.
Today, I think I did pretty easy. I gave you, it's almost all common, except
we did get some good ones. So before we get to the subject at hand today, Steve, though, I need your opinion on something. Right. This is the record store owner. Am I a collector side of things? So I want your opinion, and the folks that are watching or listening as well, we'd like you to chime in on this. I had let's just put it, a tremendously unique collectible come through the stores a little while ago, and I'm kind of catching up on stuff. And I'm a little bit at odds as to what to do. I don't know yet if I'm going to add it to my collection. But if I put it out, it's got to go out at a decent price, but it's not quite complete. What you're looking at here, Steve, is a Queen News of the World. And let me find that particular one here. It's a Queen News of the World promo, but it's the press kit version.
Wow.
So let me show this up here. it comes in a little flip top box, and on its own, and I do have this called up here. So let me show you everything that's in the box, and I'll show you the inside here. Discogs has this from 1977, and it's the official press kit from News of the World, and it's an album that includes a promotional copy of the vinyl LP, a fold-out illustrated press release discography sheet, 5 sheets of headed Queen little news item sheets about the band, and 7 8x10 black and white promotional photographs, 2 full-color stickers, and a great color fan club booklet, all housed in a unique custom envelope style picture box. So on its own, a phenomenal collectible. So my question is as I open this up, I'll show you that it has the stickers in nice shape. You know, they're not messed up. It's got the fan club bibliography book in through here. It has all 7 of the photographs, the Brian May and such, and all 7 of the photographs. It has the 5 news sheets. These are the news releases, if you want to call them that. And it has that little sheet with their discography, the little fold out stuff in discography. You know what's missing?
The vinyl.
The vinyl.
It sounds like one of my issues.
Yes. So I am at odds. You know, let's go back to the Discog side of things. This thing does roll quite heavy.
Yeah.
But that's only for complete versions. So my quandary here is, do I seek out a promo vinyl to include in on this? Or do I don't know, do I sit on it? And the off chance that a white label promo Queen News of the World will roll through the store at some time, because the promo copies of it are not ridiculous, but they're also not cheap. I mean, they're in the $50, $60, $70 range, upwards of $100 I've seen on this. And then my research into that also shows that the promo copy that came with this had a different hype sticker on it than other promo copies. So what are the odds? What would you do? Would you seek to make this complete? I mean, it's such a cool collectible in and of itself because it has everything that came with it. Most of the times you find stuff like this, the sticker is gone. A few of the photos have been tacked up and missing. But this has everything except the main part that makes it worthwhile for a vinyl collector.
You know, I personally would still try to find the promo. It may not be that exact one. That wouldn't matter, just because it's the stuff. It's all the stuff. And I know for you, just on how you like to collect and what you enjoy, that is so just up your alley. It's just that's a big part of inventory. You know, that's a big sale. But yeah, I mean, it's just that is absolutely super cool. I mean, I'd be tempted even without that vinyl, just because it's all that absolutely fascinating stuff.
It's all the stuff, and and you know my proclivity for promotional items.
Yeah.
But you get all this stuff, and my time in radio made me really kind of miss and enjoy these. Even did I miss the Freddie Mercury one? I think that I saw him. Oh, there it is. There's Freddie. He's in there too. So I mean, to find something like this that's so complete in the periphery, but missing the main element,
it's hilarious.
The guy, this was in a collection I bought a month or two back, and I when I found it, I called the guy I got it from. I said, "Do you have the record that goes with this?" He's like, "I don't think so. I can't find it anywhere."
Wow.
Like, I'll pay you more if you have this. And I paid a decent amount for this stuff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and my desire to have this complete is butting up against my my issues that I have with upgrading things that are not quite the same, not should be there. And we will do a full episode on upgrades, because I've got some, you and I have talked about this a lot, and how you can't just grab any old cover to put with something.
Yeah.
Most of the time, maybe you can get away with it, but there's so many different instances that it's just not. And I've run across that with stuff coming in where I think I've got something good, and it's like somebody just swapped out a record inside or swapped out a cover. It's an original cover, but it's a 80s or 70s reissue of something. So I'll figure that out, and I'll let you know at a future episode what I decide on this. But very curious. Thank you for your input. And again, if anybody wants to chime in, what would you do? Would you seek out a promo copy no matter what, or would you try to find the promo copy that goes with this? And I don't know if you noticed on this, but there are no items for sale.
Well, there you have that. Okay.
And even if it were, I'd have to find that one that says, hey, it's just the record and it's missing everything else, just to make this work without having to pay $500 for something, or 700. The top's out at 700.
Yeah.
So this will be an interesting one to follow now, won't it?
Yes, it will be. Yeah, it's that is awesomely cool.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know what I decide down the line. But I probably am not going to sit on this too long, because if I decide to make it complete and I decide not to keep it, it's going to have to go out over the Christmas season. Whereas if I decide to keep it, I'll have to tuck it away and not tell anybody. So any of you customers watching this, I don't have that.
Yeah.
We'll see where we go. Okay, onward to the subject at hand today, Steve. We have been... it's been kind of requested that maybe we should talk about 7 inches at some point.
Yeah. Yep.
So what do you think today? Oh, you know what, though? I did say back when we talked about somebody requesting that we do an episode, other than that, if we do like a 7-inch or a 45, I joked that we would have to stop the podcast midway through and turn it over. So I think we're about halfway through the podcast. So how about, you want to hang on a second and I'll flip the podcast over? All right. There we go. Okay, so I think we're set to go. Let's talk a little bit about 7 inches, 45s, and promos and the like that come in. I've got a small collection. I am not a 45 collector. I know people who that are just absolutely nuts when it comes to collecting 45s, and they have thousands, if not tens of thousands of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that 45s, you find the right one, they can be worth a lot of money, because that's happened here before. Well, I found one of a really rare Detroit band that I ended up selling overseas for something that it surpassed 4 digits, which I was really happy about. How big of a 45 guy are you?
Yeah, I used to have quite a few, before the flood, but most of it was just, that's what I could afford to buy, and isn't that where we all get into 45s, from the 50s, really, it wasn't an album related format. It was just singles. And then come the Beatles and the Rolling Stone, and it becomes more album for, but this is when you're a preteen, especially what you could afford to buy, especially with my paper out money, and so I had quite a few, of 70s AM gold, shall we say, Brandy, looking, Pilot, just different groups like that. Now, I have to get another one of these, because I did fill this with the 45s. A lot of them were what people gave me, after the flood, and I have bought some. I bought some from you that, are, pretty rare, but this is full now, and I need to get another one, but I'm not a really big one. I got a friend out in Boston, TC. He has a channel. He buys, there's like dozens of them every week. It's what he loves. A friend in Rochester named Mark, he just bought these huge new cabinets just for 45s. But they love them. It's the artwork. It's the picture sleeves, which are so popular.
Yep.
Did you ever get into them?
Not really. I mean, I've always had a couple, but it was for something that was important to me, a song or an artist that was important to me, or something that was tremendously, I guess, interesting. For the longest time, I remember that when I started collecting, the only place that you could get the Led Zeppelin song, My, Hey, Hey, or Hey, Hey, What Can I Do, was on 45. It had not been on any album, and it was only included, I think, in that first Led Zeppelin box set that came about in the 90s. but then they started including it on a few more things. So for the longest time, I had that 45 simply because you couldn't get that Led Zeppelin song anywhere else. There was no streaming, there was no CDs, there was no digital files. That's how it was. So my 45 collection was pretty much limited to just stuff that I thought was tremendously unique or things that you really couldn't get or find anywhere else.
Sure.
And in looking at this today, I think I have a few more than this. This is pretty much the extent of it, of mine. I don't have a cool box like you do. I've got a
Wow.
cardboard over there
Yeah.
that we put stuff into. But I think that the method of my collection of 45s hasn't really changed. And you'll see with the batch that I've got here, it's stuff that I think is unique, stuff that I think is important for my collection, or stuff that I don't think I can find anywhere else on a full-length LP.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, mine is more just shiny objects.
It's the story of your collection sometimes.
It is. There's a real shiny objects back here, folks. That's probably the glare still killing you right now.
So I forgot to include this one in the recent pickups, but I have a recent pickup 45
Yeah.
after poo-pooing on them and making fun of 45s a few weeks back. I think maybe I should rethink this because I got this one and I picked up a copy. This is actually a brand new release of Lazy from They Might Be Giants. And this is a cover of an Irving Berlin song. The backside of it is Buckle Down Winsaki, which is another cover. But it's just real fun music. But again, not on an album anywhere. Nothing else special about this other than it's just They Might Be Giants getting a little bit trippy with their stuff and a little 45 called Lazy.
Well, and I recently had bought some because, again, I rarely will buy them, but it was like a Wayne's World moment, where Wayne would go and look at the guitar and go, someday this will be mine. And
Someday is today for you,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, this is a Clash 45 collection that I bought from Jim. How long a couple years did you have
It's
these?
been a couple years. They were part of that mystical punk collection that came in that
Yeah.
you hit pretty hard
Yeah,
throughout
I
your time
did.
here in
That
Midland.
was probably about 3 years ago, and
Yeah.
so Jim's had them, and they've been sitting there, and I'd come in, can I see those again? And look and go, wow, someday. But there are some really heavy hitters in here. We're talking, triple digit type 45s on here. Look at, this one's a Japanese
Yeah, the
press.
Japanese pressing of which song was that again?
White Man and Hammersmith. And for those, don't you have to read Japanese this way?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So that can help those that can read that. White Riot here, the Clash, White Riot Tour. So some of these are unofficial, and then some are not. There's a variety of prices on here, but some of these are go for a lot of money. And
I remember that Japanese one is way up top in there.
Way up top, yes. And so this is very neat. And so there's about 15 of them. I didn't even count on here. I won't go through them all, but it's just I love the Clash. Punk is my thing. So this was fun to be able to finally get these. I've been hemming and hawing, like I said, for a number of years. Jim gave me a good deal with it. And just happy to have them, which is why I needed a box.
It's not like other customers were deprived of this opportunity, and I kind of held them back, saying, "Oh, Steve will buy these someday. I'll make sure that he." No,
Yeah.
People would come in, and here at the store we have a decent 45. I don't have thousands of them. We got a few hundred that I put out. I do have thousands if you look in the back room, but I only have space for a few hundred at a time to put out there. They're just not a big seller in the store. Once every 2 to 3 weeks, I'll get somebody coming in that's very honed in on looking for 45s, but they're so few and far between that it makes it not a very feasible thing to have here in the record store. So when people would come in and they'd look at the 45s, I'd get one every 2 or 3 months saying, okay, do you have any other 45s? I said, well, I've got this punk collection. I'd bring those out. They'd look, their eyes would get really big like yours would. And they'd say, well, those are really cool. Okay, thanks. And then back they'd go. So, I'm happy that you're getting them as a Clash lover and a collector. And
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I think it probably doubled your 45 collection at that point.
yeah. Well, you even brought them to a record show to try to trade, and people
I
wouldn't
did.
trade for them.
I
So
did. I brought, that's the record show we went to near Detroit.
yeah,
We did an episode on that, folks. Listen, it's a listenable episode. Yeah, I had a couple of those real heavy hitters, and the folks at the show were like, and I was willing to trade on those, and they were still,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
It was a
So
toughie.
yeah, it's exciting to have those. Those are just something
Yep.
special in the collection.
Yep. Well, now the other big part, and after looking at all of these as prepping for the episode, it's not going to be surprising that another section of my 45 collection is Michigan related.
Okay.
So, I think that I've got some very cool stuff on the. Let me move this so I can call my years up on this. On the Michigan side of things, I have got a Bob Seger system from 1968 of
Wow.
2+2 and Death Row. Very unique, cool song. 2+2 is probably, I think it's one of the only protest songs by Seeger. But what's cool about this, it's in very nice shape, is the fact that it still has the original Capitol sleeve, the paper sleeve
Yeah.
from Capitol in there. Other Michigan stuff that comes through here, I've got a mainstream copy of Nugent's The Amboy Dukes, Journey to the Center of the Mind, which, I think that's a cool one to have in the collection. Not in the best of shape. This one here, and on our channel, I'd interviewed Susie Quattro a few years back, but I've got a copy of Can the Can from Susie Quattro. But what makes this, I think, very cool, and I've seen this from time to time, is that this one had the jukebox tag in the collection still. So I think that's really cool that we were able to keep those together. Do I listen to this? No, not a whole lot, but it's in there. Other ones that are just tremendously unique. You are familiar with Dennis Coffey, right? He's that Detroit guitarist and the Lyman Woodward Trio. I've got a 45 from Dennis Coffey on Maverick Records, and that's very Michigan related because the B side is River Rouge. Then I get really, really wild here. Speaking of Detroit still, I still have a copy. I do have the album of this also, but I've got the WRIF radio, baby. See, that was influential to me as a DJ. They're 7-inch from the Morning Crew, where they're doing the their take on Question Mark and the Mysterians. It's a song called 96 Beers. Catch a Good High, and then it's got the Wake Up song. So the Michigan side of me really enjoys this. I've got the full album of this, but I also have the 7-inch. Detroit wise, also I've got a 45 from Ernie Harwell. Do you remember that name?
No.
Ernie Harwell was the voice of the Detroit Tigers for many years. Just a phenomenal play-by-play. And this is a poem that he had written and put in with some music called A Definition of Baseball by Ernie Harwell. And then it's got a tiger thing on the back. I'm almost through my Michigan ones, and we'll go through here. So then I have got, oops, there we go. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you don't turn your phone off. It happens once in a while, doesn't it?
Yes.
This one here is a sound souvenir from Greenfield Village, the Henry Ford Museum.
Yeah.
So you can imagine just how exciting that is, just to hear somebody telling you, this is what you see here at the Greenfield Village. Go through. Not exciting here too, but let's go to Saginaw. I found this one a while ago and just kind of held on to it. I probably could put it out. Maybe I have. It's on a little orange vinyl. It's called Memories of Saginaw High School. And it is, and I forget the year that it was, but it's just somebody talking about Saginaw High School, a town, Saginaw, not too far from here. Let's see.
Boy, that's really exciting. Oh, man.
Yeah, they're talking about the year in review and the football games. And then also from the Tri-City area. This is a toughie. It's not on Discogs, so I'll have to put that in eventually. But I also cannot find much more information on this. This is, speaking of radio, this was a press by another radio station in the area called WHNN. They're still active, WHNN 96. I know some folks there. And this is a various artists 7-inch featuring the Burdens, an album I do have. These guys were a power punk group from Bay City, in the early 80s. But then there's another artist on here named Mark Roberts, Goodbye to Rock and Roll, Time for a Crime by Quarter Moon, and Getting Tight by White Rock. So it's a 4-song EP on a 7-inch from Michigan artists, but only one of which I'm familiar with. And I cannot find a lot of info on this. So I'll get that into Discogs eventually and do some research on it. But I may have to call my friends at H&N and see. And then finally, I've got a Northern Michigan University marching band, the alma mater. So I do have a 45 collection of Michigan stuff.
Yes, you do.
Fun to add in.
Yes, you do. And there are definitely some rare ones that not many people can say they have.
Yes, which is, again, part of the reasoning for that for me.
Yep. Well, I had, this is one of my all-time favorites. I did buy this from Jim Radio Wasteland. This is Spaceman 345, Transparent Radiation and Honey at 33 RPM. But just trippy. Love Spaceman 3 and have a 45 was very, very cool. There was, I had a box set of Sex Pistols 45s, and this is actually, here is pretty vacant. This is these are just from 2012, but it was a special thing that came out on Sex Pistols. So I bought one on Tang, I bought one on the Liars, just different groups. I saved the 45 so because I really liked them. This is a neat one. The Cramps. Sometimes Good Guys Don't Wear White, and 5 years ahead of time, and it's on a.
Oh, cool! And it has the picture sleeve. We didn't get into that. Very few of mine have those picture sleeves.
Yeah. The picture sleeves are definitely what a lot of collectors go for. Miss Luba. This is out of Africa. I bought when I was buying a bunch of African. I just tossed this in, and it's more kind of a high life type music. So. To something different. A friend of mine out of Sweden, his group First Boy on the Moon sent me this. Sophia and Fast Machine, just very nice. And it is on super pink vinyl.
Very much. That's cool looking.
Yep. Puerto Rico. I bought this from a Puerto Rican punk group. Ocasala El Marcabo.
Translated?
Translated means I don't know.
Okay.
And it's on black vinyl. But they're driving a tractor. What more could you ask for? And this is actually like an album. There's like 4 songs on each side on here. Another Puerto Rican punk band, and I can't even read it. But there's just a record store that I went to there. Really nice people. When I go back to Puerto Rico, I'll visit them again. But cool record store. You had to knock to get in because they kept it locked. It's Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Can I come in? Yeah, okay. You look honest. And then you come in and they go, want a beer? Okay. So you get free beer and you can buy something.
Which helps you buy more, I would imagine.
Yes, exactly. I'm waiting for you to kind of get into that. And I'll come. I'll fly out there to visit.
When you come back, we'll have a wine bar set up or something.
Yes. What else?
That's a whole different business license. I'm not comfortable with. Steve.
Yeah, true. Oh, you have some more. I have some more here.
I do. Let me get into a couple of mine. I'm going to get into some more mainstream ones.
Yeah.
And this goes to the idea that this becomes collectability of music that's important to me or artists that's important to me. And again, I don't seek these out, but when I come across them, I'm going to nab them. I've got a few from Rush. Actually, I've got 2 identical ones. There's a surprise, right? From Rush. I've got 2 copies of Tom Sawyer and Witch Hunt 45, the US version on Mercury, and then I've got a Canadian version on Anthem Records. Both of the same song, simply because I think that, it's a cool thing to have. But back in 2000, and I have to remember my time frame on this, back in 2017, Rush put out a record store day release. It was a 7-inch of Closer to the Heart, celebrating 40th anniversary of A Farewell to Kings, the album that song was on. And, again, I'm going to be a sucker for that, but they included a small little 45 adapter, a Farewell to Kings adapter on there as well. Yeah. So I have this album a couple times over, but still it was cool to get. And then finally, this is actually fairly unique, and these become somewhat valuable also. And if this helps, this goes to our our discussion of not unsealing things, but this is a sealed copy. It was a record store day also from 2018 on yellow vinyl of Led Zeppelin and rock and roll Sunset Sound mix, 2 previously unreleased tracks of different mixes of Rock and Roll and Friends. So this was, as I mentioned, a record store day release on yellow vinyl back in 2018. I was able to get a hold of a couple of extra copies after the fact and put them out in the store back then, and thought, you know what, I'm just going to kind of hold on to one of these because I think it's very cool. And it is on that yellow vinyl. Not tremendously valuable, but still, I think, keeping that sealed is kind of a cool thing. But here's the valuable one. And this showed up after the fact too. It's another copy of that, but it is a promotional copy of that record store day release. And it is listed in Discogs as a promotional from the UK, Europe, and US. Same release of Rock and Roll and Friends, and it is also on. It's also on that yellow vinyl. It just has a promotional stamp on the front, and I don't know if it does not say promotional on the label, but it does count as a promotional copy of this. And that one, even though it's not sealed, because it's got that promotional value to it, kicks up tremendously on the high end for the mint ones on Discogs into the triple digits. So not stuff I'm going to likely listen to, but things that I think are cool to have in a collection.
Yeah. How often do you pop on a 45 just for fun?
For fun, hardly ever. I mean, we're talking really not ever. I do use that occasionally because I'll have 45s. Folks will want to hear what something sounds like, or if it's I have sold some moderately priced ones here in the store where people are going to say, well, can I listen to this? It looks a little scratchy. So we'll throw it on there. But personally speaking, I do not go to that well hardly ever.
Yeah, it's kind of where the insanity of collecting comes in. I said, I bought the Clash collection. I have some others I will show you. How often will I put them go, oh my God, I want to drop that 45? I'm not. I mean, I'm totally honest. I could say, I just may. No, I probably won't. I just flipping them. Yeah, they're cool to have. What I have, I'm very excited. As a collector, it's cool.
As a collector, it's cool. As a listener, not so much.
Yeah, not so much. If I was younger and I didn't mind, getting my lazy butt out of the chair, maybe I would. I could push my chair right next to the turntable. Maybe that's what I should do.
Well, or get one of those little suitcase ones where you can lay on the floor like this and
Yeah, that's right. Now, yes.
That also comes into mind too, that 45s were limited as far as the length of the music that could be put on there. Obviously, you could pack the grooves to get a longer song. Here's another one from my collection. It's a little beat up, but this is a promotional. It says promotional right on the label as well. So it's a promo copy of Gordon Lightfoot's Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Yeah. But because the song was a bit longer, this is a different edit. Now, this particular promo's got mono on one side and a stereo version on the other. But it's a 5-minute and 57-second version of the song that they fit on there. And I remember seeing this. I don't have one in my collection, but you get something like Don McLean's American Pie, which clocked in, I think, maybe 7 minutes or so. On the 45, they would actually have broken that up into 2 parts. So not only do you have to get up in the middle, you're interrupting the middle of the song where they'll either fade out or something. You've got to get up and flip it over to listen to the second half of the song.
I used to have both of those on 45s. It was Bob Dylan when he came out with Highway 61 Revisited. It was 6 minutes long, and he got that onto one side, and he told the record company, "We're not doing a 3-minute version. If they want to play this on the radio, they play the whole thing." Yep. And by then, the technologies was such that the 3-minute one was able to go away, and due to Bob Dylan say this is how it has to be, they became longer.
He had that power to kick it out a little bit and say no to that. Exactly. Interesting.
So you talk about promo. Here's this was sent to me. Neil Diamond's Longfellow Serenade, a song I actually like. It has the stereo and the mono. Like the one
a lot of promos did that because some of the stations, they'd either be AM or FM that would have to fall into that.
Yep, same here with this one. Brian Ferry, Is Your Love Strong Enough? Mono and stereo. These were sent. These are kind of cool. From Elmore James, a guy, one of my favorite bluesmen. This is a 1970 reissue, but still from 1970 of Sunnyland and Standing at the Crossroads. This is a 1964 from Elmore James. It's Happy Home, and then Dust My Blues instead of, he's known for Dust My Broom. Well,
Yeah.
he could. That was like the one hit, and so he just kept rehashing it, just over and over and over.
Ride that wave.
Yep, ride the wave exactly. And Elmer James, Hawaiian Boogie, and Early in the Morning. And a guy out of Canada, Bobby Gass, he sent me those. Really big collector of 45s and blues. Kingsman, off Wand. Again, someone sent me. Very, very cool. And then a picture just from The Pretty Things.
Oh, cool.
And off Norton Records, Vivian Prince or whatever. I don't know. And this was an interesting one I recently purchased. It's for Ukraine. The money raised went to help Ukraine. They even gave me a Ukrainian stamp in here, postage stamp. And
I think Pink Floyd did something like that too recently with a 7-inch.
Exactly, which I do have that one also on there. And so it's just the music from that. And then I had like the Stooges. I think I bought that one from you.
Oh, possibly.
Maybe not. I can't remember, from Bop, but Jesus Jones, what the heck? I can't.
Is that the Stooges, I hope?
It is. It's Iggy Pop and John Williams
Okay.
and Joanna Consolation Prizes. I don't even know what that even. I can't even read it, but yeah.
So I've got a couple of other ones. You mentioned a recent one. Nothing huge, but I picked up a copy, kept a copy when I came through of World Party Ship of Fools with the picture sleeve. I just like that song.
Yeah.
And it's going to go to it. But recently, this one was only available on a 45 from 2020, and that's the Dead Milkmen. They kicked out a 12 or a 7-inch single called "We Don't Need That" or "This Fascist Groove Thing" and "Complicated Faith." A little political statement from the Milkmen. Nothing special on that. I believe it's just black vinyl also. Although this particular one, oh no, I take that back. This is on colored vinyl, nice little red colored vinyl. But this particular one is also numbered, and they only put out 500. So I've got number 402 of 500 on here. But also, when you talk about artists or music that's important, this one I was really happy to come across. And it is an original copy from 1988 of the Dead Milkmen's Punk Rock Girl.
Nice.
One of my all-time favorite tunes. I've got the album, of course, but I was able to find an absolute pristine copy of the 45 of that. And that's because that's just a fun. And this one is in the triple digits also on Discogs if you get a decent one. In fact, I just had to chuckle just the other day too. I came across a half-hour documentary on YouTube about the song and music video for Punk Rock Girl. So they dedicated that. So I mean, this is something that I think it's important to me. This I would probably throw on once in a while just to get the experience of the 45 version of that, but still fun.
Yeah. You said something, you just bought one new. I bought this one this year, the Dandy Warhol's Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
That's right, because you like that song. I remember that.
Yep, yep, exactly. So pick that
Their
up.
version.
Yes, which is very different. And Third Man Records actually does quite a few 45. They release it. I used to have a bunch of blues because they were taking like Charlie Patton, a bunch of other of the early bluesmen, putting them out on 45s that I was buying up. Well, I didn't save them, but they still send these out with their subscription services and stuff. So, I will, get these. This is Mudhoney.
Yep.
Mudhoney.
And if you go to a Third Man store, Nashville or Detroit, you're going to see a large selection of 45s. A lot of the pressings are available in the stores.
Yeah, and they're very neat. I like them, but it does come down to the fact that how often did I buy them? And I said I was buying those ones from Third Man back in the day, and neat, but they're
Neat
the
butt.
yeah.
So I've got just a couple more to show here. And this one, simply because we chuckled that this is on the record store day list.
Okay.
Black Friday, the record store day Black Friday list this year as a 12-inch single. And I'm speaking, of course, of Steve Martin and King Tut.
Yep.
You know, and I've had this just because, you know, that's a fun song and it's a cool picture disc to kind of have in through there as well. So
I used to have that too.
yep. Does that mean I'm going to grab the record store day Black Friday 12-inch? Probably not.
12-inch of King Tut. Oh boy.
And then finally, something that's, I don't know why, but this is, I at one point here at the store, I had about a dozen copies of these. I think I found them on sale at one of our distributors. I went, well, why not? And it took me a couple of years to sell them. And I finally did. And I kept one. And this is a 7-inch version of Monty Python's The Galaxy Song
Oh.
as sung by Stephen Hawking.
Oh, God, boy.
So I'm hoping I could find this in Spotify just so you could listen to this version of this.
Wow.
But you know, Monty Python fan, you know, it's fun stuff, but it's I don't know, a little sacrilege maybe, who knows? But yeah, they've got the real Galaxy Song in the back performed by Eric Idle. And then the A side is Stephen Hawking sings Monty Python's Galaxies. So I think that is the extent of my 45 collection. Stuff that's unique, stuff that's interesting, stuff that's important to me, stuff that maybe I wouldn't mind getting up after a few minutes to turn over.
Sure. You know,
speaking of which, before we go any further, I think we need to flip back over again. Hold on. Let's see here. There we go. Okay, we're flipped back to the A side.
I feel better.
It was a little weird.
Yeah, it was. This is my normal spot. So yeah, you're just much more comfortable over here.
As it is. So yeah, I mean, 45s, I can see the appeal. Maybe not for everybody. A lot of people new to this, kids coming in especially. I see parents and grandparents when they walk past our 45 section saying, "Oh, those are 45s," and a lot of kids are like, "What do you mean? It's just like a tiny." I've had people think that these are CDs. I'm like, no, it's different. I mean, it's foreign to a lot of people. The idea that, you know, if you're going to get one song, you're going to stream one song, but not in the day. In the day, you wanted one song, you got it on a 45, a 7-inch.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, my turntable you could stack them up. So it wasn't, you know, so it wasn't like I had to switch it every time. You just stack them babies up, boom, 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 play. And you have a record album.
As someone who has seen thousands of 45s pass through my fingers, I can tell you, I know the collections that had those auto drop spindles.
Oh.
Because the 45s, and when they would do that to LPs, they're worse for wear. They show the wear on when that hits, because you're dropping something on it, something that's already spinning, especially at 45 RPM. It's gonna plop and then take a second or two, and if there's anything in there, it grinds right in.
Yeah. Oh. But that was the beauty of those little record players, where you could do that too.
Now, does this mean am I going to continually collect or seek out 45s? Not really. You know, as I restock them here at the store, you know, as I said, we sell them, but not very much. There's a bunch back there. But when I go through and I do our major restocks, I will, and I have before, I've put out boxes of a couple hundred 45s, and I'll say they're free. Take them. Yeah. But I mean, that's the Living Strings and the Mitch Millers and the things like that, stuff that would never sell. I can't even put in the dollar room. But people take them because they want to do crafts. I've had people say, "Oh, I've got jukeboxes. We just like to, you know, move stuff through." And that's cool.
Great
little frisbees. But not for everybody. But man, if you're a 45 collector, the world's wide open to you, because there's so much to get. Not a lot of it's expensive.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the hardest part is just to find them with that picture sleeve, and that's where the real collectors want them. That's what really makes them cool. Yeah, I really, you know, I just bought all those Clash ones, but that's the collector side of me. But do I seek it? Absolutely not. But if you have something that you know if comes in, it's kind of a rare, you know, chances are a shiny object clicks into me and go, maybe.
And the collector side, you know, and I've read a lot about this, Northern Soul is the way to go. Anything that is on an odd label, a label you've not heard of. If it's an RCA or a Columbia, forget about it, but if it's a Northern Soul and it's on one of those small indie one-off labels, it could be worth a fortune. And I have seen stuff come through that is worth a fortune.
Wow.
And I read some stuff online where people get just downright militant about buying and selling some of these things for a fortune.
Yeah. Huh.
But it's got to be the right one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like anything, it has to be the right one. Yes.
Yeah.
Not easy.
Well, we would like to know what you folks think. Are you a big 45 collector? And by big 45, we mean the 7-inch ones, but a lot of them. That's not a big record. But let us know what you think. You can comment on the Spotify page. You can comment on YouTube. And you can even head over. Not a lot of folks use the Facebook page, but I think that's indicative of Facebook of late, Steve. But that's just here.
Yeah.
But let us know what you think. Should Steve get another big 45 collection of artists completed
from Jim, of course?
Of course. I think I'm tapped now. I've got a few punk 45s left, but it's stuff that I haven't even heard of.
Yeah, very obscure. I have some of those here too that have been sent to me.
Always fun. Well, cool. As always, Steve, thank you very much. And thank you all, everyone, for watching and or listening. Good luck at this record show today. I hope you land in. I hope you stay focused. How's
yes, that's right. Try to put the blinders on and not get distracted, which I'm sure won't work whatsoever.
If you come back next week with a 3-digit 45, we're going to all point and laugh.
Yes, okay.
But I hope you find that cramp. So, okay, Steve, as always, great talking to you, sir. You have a great week. And until next time, my name is Jim, and I am a record store owner.
And I am Steve, a record collector.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Have a good one.
I'll see you, Jim. Bye.